Hello, my name is Amber and I am, among other things, a taphophile. Taphophile, from the Greek taphos, which means grave or tomb, and philia, I think it's philia, which means love. So that means a taphophile loves cemeteries. I know that's not a super common hobby, and so you may be wondering, how did I come to love cemeteries? Well, it all started right here at the Milwaukie Pioneer Cemetery. A bird just flew by. Gotta go way back to elementary school on this one. I was in second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, one of those. And we did a unit on local history. We learned all about the namesake of our school. I went to Hector Campbell Elementary School, and we learned about the other pioneers in the area. And after we had learned all of these wonderful things, we took a field trip right here as a class to the Milwaukie Pioneer Cemetery. And they gave us paper and crayons to do grave rubbings, which, by the way, is no longer advised. It kind of damages the headstones, but you know, nobody knew that back then. And we had kind of a scavenger hunt where we had to look for all these people that we had learned about. There's a golf course right over there. It basically surrounds the cemetery, well, on two sides. Up front there, that's a road, and oh wait, that's golf course over there too. Yeah, so the golf course surrounds us on three sides and got a road up front. Yeah. So this, of course, was the most exciting gravestone back in elementary school, because it is the grave of Hector Campbell, the namesake of our school, Hector Campbell Elementary. Look at that beautiful writing. Born July 11th, 1793, died June 15th, 1873, and the epitaph says, "The memory of the just is blessed." Come right over here and you'll see this guy is Seth Llewellyn. He also has an elementary school named after him, but that's not the most important thing. He was a pioneer nurseryman. Did you ever have a Bing cherry? Those are those real dark ones that are so good, so full of flavor, the best ones. This guy developed them. I was going to say invented, but you know, you can't really invent a cherry. So Seth Llewellyn and his family actually came over the Oregon Trail with a load of trees to plant here in Oregon. And he used those trees to create the Bing cherry. Oh, and right next to Seth Llewellyn are the Leddings. Our local library is called the Ledding Library. This gal, Florence Ledding, donated her house to be our city library. And it was up until last year when they built a new one in its place, because I guess our collection got too big for the old house. I love the artwork on this one. It says, "Farewell in Heaven." got a symbol to let you know he was an odd fellow. Ernst Strauss, very German sounding name. And he was definitely German because when you get down to the bottom, it says sanft. Sorry, I don't know German, but I'm pretty sure that means rest in peace. Here's one of the Civil War graves back at the back of the cemetery. He didn't die in the Civil War, but he was a soldier in Company K of the 33rd Iowa Infantry, James M. Jackson. We're back at the back. There's some people, whoops, there they are, in their golf carts, right over there. And here we are at the very back of the cemetery, right up against the fence, are Hanson and Minnie Abbott. Now, I adopted this cemetery on a site called WikiTree, which means that I come in and I take photographs of the headstones and I put them on their website and I do a little genealogy to try to connect them into the world tree so that people can find how they're related. And I was working on this couple, and so the names were looking really familiar in their tree, and they turn out to be in-laws of mine. They are the grandparents of my great aunt, of my grandmother's brother's wife. So here's what looks like one of the really old graves. Looks like there used to be an urn or something on top that has disappeared. It reads, "Our Mother, Mary Phillips, 1834 to 1878. No pains, no griefs, no anxious fear can teach our loved ones sleeping, or can touch our loved ones sleeping here." And see, it was probably laid level, but this tree has grown up, and now the roots have pushed it so that this is very crooked. Let's see if there's somebody on the other sides. You always want to check all the sides of these headstones because there's often people hidden. But nope, this one is just Mary Phillips. So this one kind of illustrates what I was talking about. This is James and Elizabeth Hillegas. James and Elizabeth Hillegas. But if you come to the side, oh, you find Mary Ann and Eunice are also buried here. And come to the other side, and oh, there's Rebecca Vorpal. So these people are probably all related somehow. It's always fun to find these headstones that look like trees, and there's a very specific reason they look like trees. There was a fraternal group known as the Woodsmen of the World. The members would have these headstones that the club or group, whatever you want to call it, would pay for. I think they had to put in money towards them during their lifetimes. This is one of the more elaborate ones I've seen. You can kind of make out at the top that it says Woodsman of the World. There's some other words there too. It's kind of hard to see. This one has an axe, chopping into a log, a mallet, and then a scroll with the guy's name on it. John P. Holtz, I think it says. It's a little damaged on this side. It looks like part of it has kind of sheared off in the weather. Someone picked up a piece and set it up on top. And all the way around it's got vines and ivy all carved right into the stone. They're not always this elaborate, but they're definitely distinctive. We're coming up on one of the more unusual headstones in this cemetery. Looks like somebody made this. It's covered in tile, and the tile has faded in the sun, so you can barely tell what it says. But I took some time one day and looked through records trying to figure out who this was, and I was able to determine, you can just barely make it out, right through there. You can just barely make it out. This person's name was Jesse. I've forgotten their last name, but I have it written down. I'm sad to see, since the last time I was here, a big chunk of the tile has fallen off of the back of this headstone. You can see the concrete underneath, and the tiles are just laying there. Golfers are a little further away at the moment, which is nice. I feel a little funny when they're teeing up right here and I'm talking to my phone. Here's another Civil War veteran headstone, Samuel Carlisle, who was in Company B of the 33rd Iowa Infantry. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of the Milwaukie Pioneer Cemetery.